Hello humans. Today I have something really special to share with you guys. I picked this up at my local hunting supply store. This is a custom handmade knife. It is made by Hatt out of British Columbia, Canada. I'll share his profile in the description. As you can see, the sheath itself is fairly simple, but it is slightly adorned, and it is absolutely beautifully made. No drainage hole, which I would have liked. The belt loop is a little bit tighter than I would typically go for, but with time, this is going to stretch out and fit absolutely beautifully. I think it's kind of funny that he has his touch mark stamped on it twice. Once up there, and then once down here underneath the pocket attachment, which is kind of where I would more so expect to see it. It is fairly thick leather, good, holds its shape, absolutely beautiful. Now for the really exciting part. This is the knife. So it didn't have a model name or anything like that associated with it. It's a fairly short blade. I'm not entirely sure of this deal. I know he uses MagnaCut for some of his stuff, but I have reason to suspect that this one here might be 154 cm. Oh man. Okay. First thing first, let's take a closer look at that touch mark there. And the file work along the spine. As you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that handle too. So this is oh man. So it is obviously a stabilized wood material. It's stabilized with blue resin, which you don't see all the time. Oh, it's already got stupid fingerprints on it. This is 3.5 finger grip comfortably. It's a hollow ground blade. It's a very nice little tiny knife, and one of the many reasons I really like shopping local and I really appreciate shopping small businesses. So I go in there every so often, right? One of the things, and they started carrying knives 2 or 3 of my I think 3 visits ago. And I mentioned to the guy who owns the store, I was like, wow, these are super cool. They're a bit big for what I'm looking for right now, because at the time I had enough enough. I wasn't looking for more larger knives, and he went, okay, I'll talk to him next time. And then I came in today and he had 2 of these options available, 2 different handles, and it was just super cool. You don't get to see that all the time. It's one of the huge perks of local stores and small business kind of a deal. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story because it was super cool of him. Anyway, we have a hollow ground blade, gorgeous polish. Can you guys see yourselves? Oh, wait a minute. It might actually be me. Ah, super beautifully well polished. It's not a crown spine, but the edges have been knocked off near this top section. They're still nice and crisp out here near the tip though. This ricasso is, again, just a little bit knocked down if you have to get right behind that blade. Oh, that handle is gorgeously comfortable. Oh my god. The details on this are beyond beautiful. The polishing on it is immaculate. So, oh man, there's different ways of approaching the idea of having a small knife, a small fixed blade especially, and the 2 common ways of doing it typically, this one here needs some cleaning up, but the 2 typical ways of doing it are to have a fairly evenly proportioned handle and blade, like for example this Konga Forge Works micro companion, which, wow, I need to clean that up. But anyway, the micro companion, where the handle and the blade are fairly similarly sized, and what you typically do in order to make up for that is you have a bit of a taller handle so it's more palm filling. The other way of doing it, and what Hatt has seemed to have done here, is to make a longer handle than the blade, which leads some people to think it looks a little bit off-sized. I personally don't think so. I think that this is an absolutely gorgeous looking thing. But what you'll do is you'll have a longer handle for that more full grip based off length, so your fingers aren't crammed together and it fits better in your hand that way there. And then just having a smaller blade attached to it. Both these options have their ups and downs. Not going to get into which one is better overall, but for what he wanted to do, this is a amazing way of doing it. Wowie. Okay, I can't imagine this does poorly, but let's find out. That is an exceptionally polished edge. Oh my god. That's incredible. So yeah, beautifully polished edge, and then... Oh, what? Oh, I missed the... I don't know what's happening. What's going on there? I'm convinced that this is me and not the knife, because it feels super sharp. Just absolutely push this all over the place. There we go. I feel like this is obviously my cat got on top of this at some point, which might be causing some of this issue, but I don't know. It is definitely sharp. It's having a hard time with the paper, and I can't tell if that's just because the piece of paper is all dirty or if there is actually something going on there. Let's grab a brand new, fresh piece of paper. Okay, I think what it is I'm just, oh yeah, actually, hold on. I'm gonna show off what I mean as I explain this. I was making a mistake. So as you can see, the final edge bevel actually happens a little bit past where the sharpening mark is, and I'm not entirely sure if that's just to prevent against a smile or what that is exactly, but I was trying to start my cut all the way back here right at the edge because I couldn't tell that, whereas I needed to start it a little bit forward. So if I started up here and then went forward, the cut felt a whole hell of a lot better. Or even if I just started like out towards the belly a little bit. No, that one there. Okay, clearly this isn't perfect. I'm having an issue. And I can't ID why. On the thumb, well, thumbnail, it feels fine. Then when I go to make my paper cut, that's weird. I don't know what's happening there. It feels sharp, but for some reason it's behaving strangely with the paper. This, I think I'm gonna move on to puncture because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing at that point with the paper. It feels like it's slicing good into this. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why it's behaving like that. Anyway, puncture test. Yeah, okay. So the hollow grind out towards the tip is definitely helping out there quite a bit, but it is puncturing quite nicely. Like, this isn't a super thick blade stock, and it does have a really nice, like you can see, it does taper nicely out towards the tip, so it does poke quite well. It gains a lot of resistance though as soon as it hits right there, which makes sense. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I'm super excited to carry this for a little bit. Like usual, I'm going to carry it on and off for a couple of weeks, get a more complete feel of it, but right off the bat, it's feeling pretty good. I will come back with more fully formed opinions, like I said, but out of the box, I do like it. Alright, I am back now. And we are back. So I've been playing with this guy on and off. Oh, on and off for a couple weeks. I actually carried it the entire time I was down visiting my girlfriend and her family over Christmas. Like this is a nice knife. I'm just gonna get that out the right away. I really like this knife. Obviously it's made by a maker that is physically quite near me, which probably plays into some degree of bias. It has fingerprint smudges on it right now. There. But completely genuinely, it fits extremely nicely into the hand. It's a small blade. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not... How big is the actual blade on this thing? So we're gonna go to the end of the primary grind rather than the this is like 2 1/8 inches from the tip to the end of the primary to the plunge grind. So it's not very big at all. But it gets a lot done for its size. Big, deep, hollow grind made it really nice. Like I did some light food prep stuff with it. My girlfriend used it for bread baking. I don't know what use there is for a knife in bread baking, but she needed a knife and it was used for bread baking. But despite its small size, this is definitely, it does a lot for it. And you still get a decent amount of handle. Like it's not super hand filling, but you can comfortably get all of your fingers on it and you can make a lot of the cuts that you would want to make. You can get your finger right out to the tip for those more precise tasks. And having the belly a little bit further forward is actually really nice. Like little tiny details on this were extremely well thought out and extremely well done. One of my personal favorites is actually the fact that this is flat. It's not a recurve. This primary section right here, but the actual belly is tilted a little bit forward from where your finger is. Like it's further that way than the heel of the blade right here, which for slicing tasks, draw cuts, that kind of thing, was actually really nice. It takes fingerprints like you would not freaking believe, which is very annoying when you are attempting to film, but it looks really good. It cuts really good. I will say that the grind starting so much later than I expected did catch me up a couple of times, but once I got used to it, it really wasn't too bad. It's just so damn comfortable, and like it's nicely rounded over up here. The file work on the spine provides actual meaningful traction. Like it's exceptional little knife. It doesn't really seem to have a model for it. His website will be linked in the description, and it's worth a look through because he does some beautiful things. He does some beautiful things, but it's not. He doesn't seem to have like standard models, that kind of a thing. He just makes stuff as he makes stuff, which is fine. It's just I don't know what this is other than small hat custom folding knife. The one thing I will say about the sheath, it's really nice. The blade does fit inside of it beautifully, and the retention is actually really good. I'm trying not to hold it too tightly so that I'm not accidentally squeezing on it, but the retention is really good. However, this pocket or this belt loop doesn't really have enough space into it for a leather belt. Like it's pretty tight even on my fairly thin synthetic belt. So on a leather belt, this is barely fits, unfortunately. But it does work really quite well as a sheath, and the fact that that is the only thing I have to complain about it, in my mind at least, means it is doing quite well. Let's get into some size comparisons real quick. Here it is next to the Civivi Chevalier and the Wee Banter. As you can see, it is quite a bit smaller than either, and for me personally, that would make it a small knife, even if it was a folder. This, however, is actually not a folder. This is a fixed blade, which means this is very small as a knife. I'm still getting a comfortable 4-finger grip, and I have fairly average sized hands near as I can tell. I use the same size gloves at work as everybody else seems to, so. But yeah, like I can still get a comfortable 4-finger grip without any difficulty, but the blade itself is fairly small. Here it is next to a Buck 110 and a Zippo lighter. No real sense in doing, well, we can do thickness of the handle. As you can see, the handle is actually quite thin. And then the other one that's worth doing is, here it is next to a Morkniv Companion F. I like the Morkniv Companion series. But once again, right, like it's not a very big knife. For my use case, which is decidedly in the light use EDC kind of a space, like, yeah, I use this for some wood carving and it did a really good job wood carving. Like, you can just get so behind the blade and you have such good access to this tip that, like, detail cuts worked really well, little carving tasks worked really, really well. But I wasn't, like, using this to cut down trees or anything like that. Like, that's not the use case for a little tiny knife like this, so. And nor should it be, quite frankly. Alright, let's do blade thickness real quick. Yeah, 106 thousandths. So it is a fairly slicey blade. The hollow grind definitely accentuates that sliciness quite a bit. And I mean, yeah, for your day-to-day, like, that is exactly what you are likely to use this for. The sheath, despite being fairly large for a knife of this size and height, is genuinely very classy looking. It looks really, really good with, like, a leather jacket or on a nice pair of jeans. It just looks so natural and fitting there. And the knife itself, with its dark colors and its, like, high reflectivity polish, just looks so damn good. Yeah, like, obviously I use this for work and that kind of thing, but this thing shines in a gentlemanly EDC situation. If you're entertaining clients or needing to talk to people, like, this is the way to do it, in my opinion. So yeah, like, highly, highly recommend. Check out Hat Knives. They make lots of really cool stuff. Not just this little guy, but they make kitchen knives. They have folders. They have bigger stuff. They work quite a bit in RWL 34. They do some stuff in Magna Cut, like lots of Damascus work, and super incredibly cool stuff. So check out Hat Custom Knives, but link down in the description. I'd say in the pin comment, but I don't know how to pin a comment, so yeah. I freaking love this thing. Like, and it wasn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but it was priced very appropriately, which I liked. I felt like this was well priced for what you were getting, and just the craftsmanship and execution on this is brilliant. Yeah, absolutely strongly recommend checking out Hat Custom Knives. I don't know why the sheath got stamped twice, but I think it's kind of cute and kind of funny. Yeah. It's hard to talk a lot about something like this. It is very simple in terms of design, especially when you have nothing to complain about, but it's a genuinely great little knife. And I felt comfortable handling tasks larger than I would normally handle with a knife like this, and I felt comfortable going to Christmas dinner with my girlfriend's family with this on my belt, because it looks classy, it looks good, it doesn't look out of place in a more formal environment, which, for something as capable as this, is an impressive feat. That's kind of all I had to say about this. Stay safe and have fun out there. Peace.